Yo, vloggers out no. Welcome to Come Through the Podcast. Thank you for coming through. Expect to have a good time. It's your boy Farai, man.
Yeah, I already know what time it is. And I always get excited every time it's time for me to introduce myself. But it's the luxurious. If you're listening, you can't get to witness greatness. But if you're watching, you already know what time it is, man. It's your boy Deshaun Weber. We are accompanied by the voice of reason, the voice of the community man when he feel like it just playing.
You
Mr. Brian
shameless with that one.
Peterson. What you say, Brian?
Yo, yeah, good. You're on location right now, so hope this gonna be a lit pod.
With us. We have a superstar.
Oh,
The biggest.
hey, hey.
We have a superstar. I know this guy don't need any introduction at all. Really and truly, he don't need any introduction. But I got gas my brother up, you know what I'm saying? You might have seen him on the road. Always on the road. You might have seen him in the fete. You might have seen him planning the fete. You might have seen him on
Uh-huh.
Facebook. You might have seen him in the field walking to make sure that our carnival season is turned up and nice. My brother, the newly we ain't gonna talk about it. I'll get into your accolades during the part. I know I wanted to introduce it, but these are big celebrity. I want to really let this thing digest and get into who you are and what
Uh-huh.
you're known for. But I get my boy, Mr. Shamari, man. How you feeling? Thank you for coming to the Come True podcast, man.
No
How you
problem.
feeling?
Thank you for having me. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. Chill right now. For a change, right? Because usually I am the go, but I'm feeling good. No complaint. Good stuff.
Fair enough, fair
Good to hear,
enough,
good
fair
to hear.
enough. Well, we got action pack one for you guys today, per usual. Right now we got our VI man in the pod, and we have Mr. VI connoisseur, if we'll call him that. Right now, somebody who is really ingrained in our culture and who has really taken it upon himself to be able to try and help push the culture forward. So I want to ask Shamari, you very, very, very huge in the Virgin culture in all aspects. When exactly did you discover your love for the Virgin Islands, and when did you essentially tell yourself that you're going to take on some of these, I want to say battles, not really battles, but really put yourself out there and be an advocate for everything Virgin Islands, essentially.
I don't remember like a time exactly where I tell myself like I doing this, right? It's kind of like just one of those things that like just like randomly happen. So I come from a line of individuals who have contributed, to Virgin Islands culture and tradition in like different lights, right? Educators, musicians, I was a seamstress. I come from a line of people just doing the do. And then in elementary school, like kind of started to like dance and masquerade with Miss Asta Williams. And I think like that was like maybe the first seed that were planted. Um, got invested in festival carnival as long as I know myself, doing this costume thing as long as I know myself. And then like started a troupe at 16, which was supposed to be a one time thing. And here we are like 17 years later to be exact. And I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
know if I still want to do this, but we've like literally a part of the fabric, right? That's like the adults parade, if that makes sense.
Mm.
It's hard for me to pull out, so I'm just doing it. Since then, things have happened professionally. Things have happened personally. Things have happened from a business sense that just all started to fall into place with no sense of direction. I just doing it. I love what I do. It comes as second nature. I eat, sleep, breathe it, think about it, dream it every day. No one day when I got to work feel like it's work because really and truly I'm fortunate enough to get paid to do what I love. So it's just like one of those. I just breathe it.
Talk your shit.
I just do it right. With no sense of direction again. I just get up. I know I got to get done. I know the direction I think that I really want to see things. So I do my
Mhm.
part. That's just a long and short of it. With no special interests. No personal gain. Nothing. Like I just doing it. I have no
Hey,
nothing else outside of the law.
let the people tell it. Let the people tell it. Is personal gain, is this, is that, is I kind of thing, but we already know how it goes, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
Mhm.
man, I really appreciate your contributions and everything you've done. I know I said gonna save some of the accolades because we're gonna get more into it during the pod. But with that,
So I have a question. So with your work and what you do, especially in an honorable sense, no personal gain, none of that. It's all for the love, which is really commendable. What does it mean for you to be in your current position as Deputy Commissioner of the Virgin Islands Department of Tourism?
Well, presently in this moment, I sit in two capacities actually, right? I'm
Oh,
in dual roles. So a year ago, I was appointed by the governor, Governor Brian, as the deputy commissioner for the Department of Tourism. But in 2019, when the Division of Festivals was formed, I was the first appointed assistant director for the division. Now, I presently
mm,
still sit within that capacity and doing that work, right? But it's like much bigger than I could really explain. So prior to the division festivals, prior to Senator Sarro and former Senator Sarro and former Senator Marion Jackson, prior to them proposing the bill, I was one of those people who were out in the community saying all the time, "Hey, we need to put festival and carnival and tourism." I had the vision. I saw the vision. I know how fruitful it would have been for our government and the economy. So I was just always saying, like, let's do it, right? Being
mhm.
involved in festival and carnival for a long time, I'm well traveled, did a lot of research, see the benefits of it at like other destinations, and know the things that work for other Caribbean islands. And then 2019, the division was like signed into law, and Governor Brown was like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I was like, "Hey, I guess." And then from then, just ended up like putting into play all the things that I've been like talking about, right? Some parts of it, didn't happen immediately. Some parts of it are still happening. But obviously, the division of festivals have put the Virgin Islands on the map in like a different sense, right? And it's not a one man show, right? So the division of festivals is headed by a territorial director, Ian Turnbull. We have three assistant directors who act as district directors for each respective island. Of course, we are overseen by the Commissioner of Tourism, right? Commissioner Joseph Bosholti. So it is a full operation by the department, not just necessarily the department, not just necessarily the division of festivals, but the Department of Tourism. But being able to have a voice, play a part, implement change, letting people know that the Virgin Islands they're in this game too, being a part of that, it made me feel really good. And we just began to like scratch the surface. Um, and since the inception of the division, we are now seeing other destinations doing exactly what we're doing, right? I wouldn't call anybody out in particular, but if you pay attention, if you're in the space and you pay attention, you'll see who's spending the money to advertise and market like the Virgin
Mm.
Islands.
Mhm.
You're now seeing destinations showing up in places that they've never been before, right? And when we go out there and we tell people come to the Virgin Islands, now we see like other islands showing up next to us, and we're like, well, you can't really run game with us, so we kind of like get a blueprint, right?
Mhm.
But all of that, seeing the change, right? On a bigger scale, we have people here who, just go to the village, but really don't understand the marketing and branding sense of it. When you travel out of the territory and you're in those spaces and you've seen other people copying your style, then that's when you realize, oh yeah, we're doing the right
You're
thing,
doing the thing.
right?
Facts.
So
And I do want to ask a questions. Obviously, I understand what festivals and such are, but for our American followers who may not know exactly the kind of things we're referring to when we talk about festivals, what is festival? Like, what is festival for American followers?
So I compare I compare festival to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. I think that's the closest
That's
comparison
a good point.
that might make sense to them. And then
Mhm.
once I identify that they don't know what Mardi Gras is, then I break it down. I share information in regards to what it means to us as Virgin Islanders, why Crucian Christmas Festival is celebrated in the month of December into January. I give a little history about St. Thomas Carnival not always being in the month of April. It really started out in February as a Valentine's Day event. Like, people don't know stuff like
Mm.
that, right?
I didn't even know
I
that.
didn't. I
That's
didn't.
knowledge. That's knowledge. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history. There's a lot of history, and we have like other islands now, like for example, St. Martin and Jamaica right now getting St. Thomas a run for their money. They actually shifted their dates to compete with us. One island move away from us, and one island move closer to us. Because the goal is all about getting the numbers and telling the people to come check us out. So I just draw it back to something that makes sense to them, and then share the cultural relevance, because depending on where you're from, you also celebrate Carnival and Festival for a different reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emancipation for some, it might go back to religion for others. Just depends on where you're from. But the one thing that we as Caribbean people know how to do is just come together during that one specific time. It doesn't matter like what island you're from and what your culture, your background is. We're here to celebrate this thing.
Now
Hey.
that's a really good point. I want to say, I'm gonna make it simple for people that know me.
Mhm.
Fellas, if you want to go see the women and thing winding up, if you want to go put on your costume and go do your thing. You want to go dance in the street and drink alcohol like y'all saw me out here doing, or get paint on you, just come on down to the Virgin Islands before you try anywhere else. No disrespect to nobody else thing, but hey, try the Virgin Islands first, and then you could branch off from there
Now
and
let
go
me take a
somewhere
little
else.
plug in that. So what's really unique, and we know this as Virgin Islanders, right? But what's really unique about us is the fact that you get three different festivals or carnivals within 1 year. So for whatever reason you miss summer, you could come winter. If you miss winter for whatever reason and you want to spend it with your family, you could come spring, all within the same
Facts.
year. So it's just something that's like really unique to our product. And again, we've seen a return on the dollar when we advertise it. So the brand or the slogan is three reasons of it. And we show people why.
Ooh. I like that. And you don't need a passport, so
And you
that's
don't need a
another one.
passport.
Hey,
Exactly.
Shameless
big
plug.
facts.
That's a
People
big
keep
one.
asking me, need a passport? No, you
Nah.
don't need no passport. I don't want to hear that excuse anymore.
Right.
We don't want to hear it anymore. Come true, just like the podcast. Come true and check out. I could give you more than 3 reasons. If I need more than 3 reasons, I could give you about 20 of that. You know what I'm saying? But nah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Hey, Shamari. We know everybody and they might have an opinion about carnival and festival and what they think it should look like.
Mm.
So tell me about some of the challenges you face when planning carnival. Well, now obviously tying anything with tourism, and then going to, I guess, like the scrutiny you to face on the public, from your position in behind the scenes in tourism and in front of the scenes with the troop, and when they necessarily don't agree with the decisions that you make.
So I glad that I glad that you touched base on that, because it's something that I don't necessarily like to speak on, but I'm now realizing that maybe I need to talk about it a little more. But before I jump into the troop and my job, challenges from the community is I think the biggest challenge is
Mhm.
implementing change, right? So we want change, we talk about change. Oh, this need to change, but that need to change. I think they should do
Mhm.
this, and then the minute you put your best foot forward to make it happen, you get immediate pushback. Um, so I realize in that so I the type of person, right? I gonna just do it. That's just my mentality. I gonna do it.
Mhm.
If it work and it's a success, then it is what it is. If it don't work out, we'll figure out if we can make it work, right? I gonna just force it down your throat. Um,
Mhm.
that's how I operate personally. But
Mhm.
when you work in on behalf of the people, right, and you're in an official capacity, then the mentality is a bit different. But biggest challenge is definitely change. But it is probably my job is probably one of the most rewarding things um, that I've ever done. Right, so
Mhm.
during the planning, like the planning for festival started a few months ago, about 2 months ago. Right now, we like doing heavy work. People ain't seen the advertisement for the upcoming festival, but we doing the work all now, right? So it's
Mhm.
like 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. I just planning straight. As I get closer to the opening of the village, and I get closer to the release of the entertainment lineup, then you hear the community kicking up. But
Mhm.
then they still go to the events, right? And all the events are successful.
Mhm.
So learning how to like shut off and disconnect, and
Mhm.
just let it go, was our next personal challenge. Because sometimes you just got to let people talk, right? But people still continue to come out and support us. And then in light of me having a troupe and running festival, the conversation of conflict of interest have always come up.
Mhm.
Um, and I get it. Like I get perspective and I get point of view and I get it, right? Looking from the outside and you really don't know. But the truth is I don't gain or profit anything from sitting in my capacity and running a troop. Some people might believe that. Some people might not believe that. I don't necessarily think that I need to prove that to anybody, because the long and short of it is what it is. People gonna believe what they want at the end of the day. Um, yes, do I have well, people think that I have the connections because of the job, but people really don't know that I always had the connections, and I don't have to go through my job to make any connection. The problem is
Mm-hmm.
I don't beat my chest or tell people, well, hey, I know these people and I connected with these people and I could do this. Because what I
Mm-hmm.
realize is when it's all said and done, it really don't be worth it. Right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't gain
Facts.
any financial gain. I don't gain anything at all. I wish I were gaining something. I wish I were making some money, right? I wish I was able to position my troop. But what I've also done is, and internally at tourism, they'll tell you this. Um, I always try my best to plug somebody else, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if somebody comes and internally we want you, or we want to do something with you, or we want this might align perfectly with your brand, or with our brand, I don't tell people, or I tell the team, listen, X Y Z is out here, try X Y Z. Um, you know, if you pay attention to like some of the photos that tourism they use or like market the upcoming festival, its photos are my troop. Its photos are other troops as well. But the long and short
Mm-hmm.
of it is simply sophisticated, been around from 2018, 2008. I'm sorry, from 2008. And we're a staple in the parade, right? So the pictures are expected, right? The hype is expected, and we build that hype before I was even appointed to the
Back your
Department of
shit.
Tourism Division of Festivals, right? So
Facts.
Definitely, yeah.
again, I'm just not in the business of like beating my chest. But the truth is, from 2008 up until now, Simply Sophisticated have been bigger every single year, with the exception of 1 year when we intentionally cut our numbers down, right? So, I don't have to brag about things like that, but my team know, right? But I also allow my team to just let people talk, because I don't want. Sometimes it's like a very fine line between what I do professionally and what I do on a personal level. But again, perspective. I get perspective, but I don't gain nothing. In fact, I work in harder because I dealing with a village, right? I dealing with a festival, and I still operate in a mass camp that putting together costumes for 1,000 people. So sometimes I'm split in 3 and 4 different directions. Parade man, and I'm responsible for the floor of the parade and putting the parade on the road on time. But I still have 1,000 women who are up to the top of the parade road asking questions. So, this is where a strong team comes in. So I don't even have to be anywhere around my troop for my troop to operate, because
Mm-hmm.
again, it's a well-oiled machine, and them girls don't need me, right? They doing it without me. But to the end of the day, it's hard for me to, even if I wanted to disconnect myself from the brand, it's hard because I build it from nothing, come from
I want
absolutely nothing.
pop your shit. That man ain't know you been popping from before the
Oh
appointment.
no,
What
they
is
know.
wrong
Hey,
with
They
that man?
no
Ain't
man, no.
they
talking.
know.
And
A shame
the
if they
thing
don't
is,
know.
they definitely know, and the VI definitely knows that Simply Sophisticated is in this monster and been in
It-
this thing.
Oh.
So I don't
and you
know.
know,
I don't
it,
know why people are act brand new, but come on now, we can't not give the man his flowers for Simply Sophisticated and what it's become. So
I even went as far as like in 2018, I had started a second troop, and I was operating 2 troops in the same parade, which made me the only person in the Virgin Islands to do that, right? So
Talk your shit.
I've contributed in numerous ways than one. I don't contribute even outside a festival, even outside of the parades, I contribute. But again, I just try my best to remain as humble as possible, because I feel like as quick as you gain or obtain something or
Mm-hmm.
grow in the same breath, you could lose all of it. So I just take a backseat, do my part, invest where is necessary, even if sometimes investing is also investing in other people who dead in the same
Facts.
space. So people ain't know, and I ain't gonna call people out, but who know, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
don't do a lot for a lot of other people, right? Who a lot of other people who they're there talking about, oh, it's a conflict of interest, right? But it ain't a conflict of interest when you go pick up the phone and I give you a heads up about what about to
Mm,
happen, right? And it working in your
Hmm.
favor, right?
Okay
Or
now.
when I doing something and I calling shots to work in your favor, even if it don't always align with what I got to do from a professional stance, right? But again, the people is my priority. So I just don't beat my chest. I can, but I just don't. You don't gain anything from that. At least I don't.
And
Hmm.
I know Brian have a hot topic that he wanted to bring up in a little bit, but before we get to that, I want to give a learning lesson based on the scenario, because you may not. Well, I'm sure you probably thought about it like this, but a lot of people, when it comes to entrepreneurship, because I look at even putting together the troop as an entrepreneurial journey, whether or not it's for monetary gain, whatever gain it may be, the concept is the same. And you said something that's important. They're able to operate without you being able having to be there in the day to day, and that allows you to wear these different hats. And that goes back to show something I want to drive home for people is when you're building whatever you're trying to build. First of all, think of it as long term. And secondly, you have to create systems. You
Correct.
have to create systems that work outside of just you. Because unless you do that, you are going to become a slave to whatever it is you're trying to create. So from Shamari's standpoint, he shared something that I thought about, where it's like he always wanted to go back to it. And that's usually how you see these big heads of the companies do. They want to go back because they really and truly wholeheartedly love doing this. But at the same
Mhm.
time, he doesn't have to go back and do these things. I want that to be a lesson to a lot of people. Like, go out there, find the trust in your people. We don't want to trust anybody. Everything is don't trust nobody. But you hearing him big up his team so large right now, saying, "Hey, yo, he trusts in his team. They could handle it without him. There's no doubt in his mind that they could handle it without them." You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to take a leap and to be able to trust these people and put the right people in position to be able to help carry your brand forward, or carry on your vision, essentially. On top of, I want to commend you personally because I saw on Facebook, I forget who the young man was. There was some discussion surrounding Carnival, and I saw you comment in the comments and actually gave a real perspective, and that's one thing I don't see a lot of people doing. We just
Mhm.
had an offline conversation where we talked about the information sometimes being out there, but people don't want to see it. I feel like to a certain extent is very important for the people, especially in the Virgin Islands, because we're so small, for some of the people out there to come and give that different look so people could understand a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be an uphill battle all the time trying to do that every single time, but where it can be quick and easy explanation, I feel like that's important because the people sometimes really just ignorant to what's really going on behind the scenes. They don't understand, and sometimes that's why they formulate these kind of perceptions that they do about, oh, it could be for this interest, or oh, it could be for that, because they really they just don't understand what it takes and what's going on behind the scenes. Like you just shared that planning already going on and there's advertisement already started. Some people think is 2 3 months
Fly by
before.
night.
You know what I'm saying? 2 3 months before somebody got forming and somebody started forming. Mute. But some people, yeah, some people really think it's 2 3 months before, and then we just strike up, and all of a sudden, this grand scheme of things is going on. And as well, they give their complaints at that time. If you really want to make an impact and really want to, how about you take the time to learn on what's going on, reach out to understand what's going on, and then give your input from more of an educated place rather than just griping. But like you say, it comes with the territory. All you can essentially do is just say, put the blinders on sometimes and
Hmm.
continue to work. Because at the end of the day, I enjoy the carnivals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
to me, the
Hey,
last carnival
same,
was
same.
much better than a lot of carnivals. Like, even everything down to police presence to all these things was incredible. Like,
Yeah,
it
that
was
the
really
police
enjoying the.
was in there, dude.
Yeah,
It
they
was
defend
Full
us
impressive.
force.
inside.
I
People
felt
think that like
safe.
tourism is like one of the smaller agencies within the Virgin Islands government, right? One of the smallest agencies planning the biggest event, right?
Mm,
For the territory, no matter which island, right?
mm-hmm,
But people don't understand that the coordination behind a festival. So just a quick example. When we
mm-hmm.
done line up our schedule, this is what we want to do. We begin to get with other agencies. VIPD, VITEMA, Department of Health, EMS is top priority, the Office of the Governor. If it's something relative to the Fort DPNR, have to sit in on that. Sports Pass and Recreation have to sit in on that. Public Works, waste management. So that's 9 agencies that I don't call a rest. That's just nine. And
Again, one meeting. Wow.
fire is the next one. Like I said, EMS, they more sugar, right? So we're looking at
Yeah.
9.
Mm-hmm.
So we have conversations once a month, then it start to lead up to twice a month, then it start to lead up weekly. right? If it's a isolated situation and we got to deal with a department individually. In all of this, I still got a cruise ship in town that I got to deal with. I got 4,000
Hmm.
passengers. I still got to deal with the airport. Things happen. Like there's crisis that'll happen sometimes in your day to day in tourism, right? People just don't understand just what goes into it. I think people also don't understand the function of tourism, the function of the division and festivals. I think that if people get a full understanding of the function, then I think people will have a better understanding. But in a time where information is most accessible, right? You could call any
Hmm.
government agency, you could Google anything, everything down the net, right? You can go
Mhm.
directly to websites for agencies to find out what you need to find out. People still don't do the work. So whenever and this is going back to the because I know you're talking about with a comment I posted on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I find that when I'm faced with situations like that, I just provide the facts and I leave it alone. Me getting a back and forth, mean your opinion is your opinion and that's that. But these are the facts at the end of the day that you can research that like it's factual information. You can find whatever proof you want. So I just stick it. I stick to that and then I just leave it alone. Um, did, I think I said this already. Like working on behalf of the people, Virgin Islanders, is not easy. Crucians
Phew.
specifically is not easy, people. But you feel a love.
Boy.
You honestly feel a love from the community. When the community feel included, right?
Mhm.
So I just try my
Absolutely.
best to just provide as much information as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I have a gist of it. I think that you guys been around long enough, invested, enough to have an understanding of how it'll go.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I don't pay attention, man. Don't get me wrong, I'm human just like everybody else. So sometimes I may go and say something that's out of pocket before I do some research. But generally, before I try to speak or give an opinion on something, I like to see what's going on behind the scenes. And luckily for me, I've been in marketing. I've been in different little spaces where I could understand a little different perspective when I'm looking at things happening. I've talked to CEOs of companies and I see how they kind of have to delegate. Like even just with just you saying you have to delegate with 9 different agencies, they think that shit is just one conversation and everything just flow smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So,
and they say you gotta deal with a whole bunch of different personalities, and they have to deal with their whole crew and get them in. Nah, is
And
a lot.
everybody get like day job to do, right? So my job is to host a fed. PD job, the only thing they care about is public safety. EMS only really care about, access if you have an emergency to get in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Public works want to make sure that they parking lot is returned the way they give it to us. So like everybody's got a job to do. So coexisting in the professional space isn't always easy. But to the end of the day, we
Right,
just have to
right.
figure it out because to the end of the day, it got to get done. That's just the way it
And
is.
and I can imagine there's like some conflict sometimes, especially with like public safety
Oh
and
yeah.
vetting,
Oh yeah.
especially. I can imagine
Oh
different
yeah.
types of conflict going on that you have to resolve. So
Oh yeah, but
yeah, it's
luckily
definitely not easy.
VIPD have been very open to the conversation. We don't get much pushback. If they think that something pose as a risk of public safety, that's our job, right? So I could
mhm,
host, we could host the best baddest event, but it just take for one thing to happen for it to
mhm,
taint, the work that we already do. So I don't
Hmm.
just let them
True.
leave because at the end of the day, police are to police, right? They got a job to do.
mhm.
So
Right,
we just
right.
coexist within the space. But we don't get pushback. It ain't always easy all the time.
Hey. Let me get on something that I always done people mind a lot more now. So, like you said, that things is changing, Shamari. The VI and a whole is split on this conversation on whether or not we should charge for village or other historically free events during the carnival season. So, what's your position on this?
Whatever. Hey, give your disclaimer, professional or unprofessional
Yeah.
opinion, whatever you want to give.
This is my logical opinion. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
So if people, so I like a free fare, right? If free, I come in. It is what it is.
Facts.
Um, one thing that makes our product very unique is the fact that you can walk in a village and hear Nadia Batson for free at full stage show. You're going to places to get that for free. Me care. I don't care
Facts.
where in a wall you go, right? You going into the village to see Marshall for free. I don't care. You don't get
Facts.
Marshall for free, right? So if people only understand the amount of money that is spent, right? Whether if
Mm-hmm.
we get a deal or we get a long-term relationship, blah 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 blah. People don't understand that. If people see the numbers, then people would understand. Hey, it probably makes sense to charge $3 a night. Now, Tatola to charge for the village, not every night. If we're supposed to ever charge for the village, I don't think we should charge every night. And if we do charge, maybe a $3, $4 fee. Now, some
Mm-hmm.
systems are going to have to be put into place. How are you going to collect the money if it's going to be cash only? Blah, blah, blah. So we can charge tomorrow if we want to charge tomorrow because we're not set up already for that. So do I think we should charge for the village? Yeah. I see a conversation recently where a man was like, "What me paying to go to the village because my money, my tax dollars are already paying for it." But if you book an artist and an artist charging $35,000 to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just 35,000. That's a charge. You got to on top of that pay per diem per band member. Sometimes 11, 10, 9, 12 people, right? Every day that they're here, you got to fly them in. Some coach, some first class, some business class, right? Then you have to put them up in a 5-star hotel. The closest thing to a 5-star hotel in Crete is Buccaneer. The
Buccaneer,
rooms at
yeah.
Buccaneer is 5-star price, right? You got to feed them. You got to provide adequate transportation. Sometimes when you book artists, you have to put them on a charter flight. You have to get them out right away because they booked to go someplace else. And that's just basic, right? We had booked an artist for St. John who wanted African food, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
the artist came from overseas and
Mm-hmm.
we had to find African food because on top of booking the artist, you have a rider that's a part of the contract that you have to
Mm-hmm.
fulfill. Um, some artists want what on the rider. Sometimes what on the rider is just like crazy, right? But you got a contract to fulfill. And if you don't want to provide what on the rider, then you don't get a contractual
You
agreement.
can't.
But
Facts.
it all comes down, or it all boils down to stars. I personally think, it's my opinion, personal opinion, that if we invest in the proper infrastructure, then I think that Carnival and Festival and just entertainment in general could put a lot more money into the economy. We already seen it right now with Festival and Carnival. All the hotels book, all the car rentals book, airlines are book, Airbnbs are book, right? So the government do collect a tax half of every hotel stay or car rental, right? So we don't make money. It goes into the general fund. Some of it goes into the tourism advertising revolving fund, and that's what the Virgin Islands government right now is utilizing to sustain the CAFAs. It's done. Some people don't understand that, right? But we could double that if we're
Mm-hmm.
really serious about entertainment. The
Mhm.
pandemic proved that to us. The pandemic proved to us that when nobody else can go no places in the Caribbean, the closest to the Caribbean or deep within the Caribbean they're gonna get is the Virgin Islands if they don't have a passport. Um,
Good
when
points.
St. Croix is a lot of festivals, right? We have Party Festival coming up the 22nd of this month. Mango Mela is the next big thing. People flying for those events. Three major events that we'll see a completely different set of people. After Cruise and Christmas Festival, you have people who coming home for fair. 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Some people are
Right.
here
Yeah.
for Christmas and then they'll come back. Some people can't come Christmas, so they don't come fair, right?
Fair.
So,
Facts.
so that's two different set of people. And then you get the St. Patrick's Day parade, which is the biggest St. Patrick's Day event of its kind within the Caribbean, right? And that's a whole next set of people that are coming. Completely different demographic, completely different set of people that are coming just for the St. Patrick's Day parade. People who are here during summer, they go to Mango Mele, right? That's a family event, right? And I could go on and on and on and on. But if we invest in the proper infrastructure, because you need the proper infrastructure to guarantee the success of those events.
Absolutely.
Miami Carnival is as successful as it is, not because of the time of year that it falls, but because they actually have the infrastructure to hold all those people. So if
Mm-hmm.
we get serious about it, we do a jazz festival or something, just along those lines, we'll see a return on the dollar. But we have to be serious about it. If people hear entertainment and they're just thinking party, but if you start to make sense of the dollars, then you'll
Mm-hmm.
understand the benefit.
And then I want to expand on a little bit of that. and then the artists that they want to come out,
Hmm.
like
Big
you
names.
know what? The
Jesus.
big
Red.
it's so funny, right? Because everybody out here, and whether it be true or not, I just talking of what the social media have seen. So everybody saw what Burna Boy was charging
Mhm.
at one point on social media, and they were uproar about it. But then when it come kind of a time and they want Burna Boy so bad, it come like they forget about the complaints they were making earlier
Correct.
about his price. And you talked about the accommodations. Most people not even thinking about the fact what these artists want. These artists ain't
Mhm.
just like, oh yeah, man, just pay me and I'm gonna just take care of all the no, 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 no. It's bunch of accommodations.
What the Virgin Islands is also known for, and any promoter who in the business long enough will tell you this, the Virgin Islands always been known for paying top dollar. So when an artist come here and they charging us 50,000, they're going someplace else, and I just call in a number. When an artist charging
Mm-hmm.
us 50,000, they're going to another Caribbean island and they can pay 20, right? So
Sheesh.
we set the standard. If you look at the entertainment that we have been bringing, whether it is soca, calypso, dance hall, reggae,
Reggae,
we
facts.
always get um tier A or class A entertainers. I asked my assistant recently, I was like, listen, we have had every single A-list soca celebrity.
Facts.
From Marshall to Kes to Nadia to
Facts.
Destra. I mean, it don't get no bigger than Marshall in the Calypso space. How do you tap that, right?
Facts.
What's next? And then now that we have elevated the Carnival and Festival brand and made travel or arrangements or the events even more enticing, right? You get people who
Mhm.
used to go to festival in December, they going to cinema, so they going to St. John. This is St. John 70th this year. People going to St. John. So if you miss an artist in one island, you're gonna catch an artist for free in the next island, right? Because nobody
Mhm.
don't want to miss out. How do you
For
elevate
free.
the brand for free?
Hmm.
Exactly.
And
Shit.
So
that's the
stay
biggest
Love that.
thing right there, man.
staying
That
at top
is
of our
free,
game.
dude.
Free, you like you cannot beat that. Like you cannot, right? And then you go like so in St. Thomas, we realized that on Latin night, the Latin community to come up with their own coolers, and people push it back against it. People was like, "Well, me really think coolers should have been in the village." In my mind, I'm like, "Well, I think they're cool, right? Because
That's
now
cool.
you turn the village into a cooler fed. Me, why am I buying drinks when I could just walk up my own cooler?" Some people don't agree. Some people totally disagree with that. But like, it's just a vibe. Like, it's a vibe that we don't offer as a territory that you will
Mhm.
not get any place else, right? There are other brands and other carnivals and festivals that are bigger than us. But when you come here, you get a little bit of everything. You get a culture, you get a people, you get a camaraderie, you get a celebration, you get a history, but you get a party and you get a fun and you get an entertainment and you get a girls, right? You get a food, you get a music, you get everything. So it's a different vibe that I think that we as Virgin Islanders could appreciate a lot more. But because people don't get out of the territory to see what else there out there, they
Hmm.
don't understand how
Hmm.
valuable and how
That's
big
it
of a
right there.
deal what we have is. They just don't
Facts.
get. They don't get. You got
Yeah,
girls.
I think that's big that you just say. We really just don't realize how other people have it. Yes, the carnival's bigger, but I have my brother-in-laws. They're from Antigua.
Mm-hmm.
Antigua have a big carnival, but when they come
Mm-hmm.
here and they experience the free village and they experience all that, they was like, "Wow, this is just
Mm-hmm.
so amazing." Antigua would never do something like this for his
Mm-hmm.
people. We have to pay everything, top dollar for everything. Everything is for pay, but this is just so amazing. I love the vibe. It's always they love the vibe. They usually have a positive comment to make about carnival because it's just so unique compared to
Correct.
everything else. Yes, I do think
And it,
that charging has its benefits for the
mm-hmm.
free events, but I
Mhm.
also think that we should appreciate what we have and the things that we're allowed to have in the
Exactly.
current space where we are because and then to not appreciate and only have complaints for whether it's the artists, which I've always thought we had great artists, we always had great music,
What
great village and all these
artist?
events. So I don't understand the complaints. It always had me confused why people even feel a need to complain about something like that, especially knowing that on our side, on the public side, we don't have to pay to get in. We don't have to pay for these events. We allow the government, tourism, y'all to coordinate all of this to allow us to just walk in without having to spend any type of money. and entering. So
2 hands
it's something
swinging.
to appreciate, something not to take for granted, because come on, man. Come on, it's fucking free.
It's free.
But
The
listen,
numbers, the proof is in the numbers, right? So remember I had a drone shot at the village Reckon night.
dude, that shit
Yeah.
was insane.
Right? Like,
Shoo.
me
The-
think that anybody realize that we have literally outgrown the village, right? So people complain, but it come out in big numbers. So to
Big
them,
Alright,
numbers.
it really
It was
don't make no
amazing.
sense to breathe air into the complaints. And some complaints are
Right,
valid,
right.
You know, I listen to everything. Some things are valid. Some things, some people offer valuable solutions with their complaints or their feedback. Let me call it that. And then other things I just don't study about. I don't worry about it because you know what they're gonna be? Right to the front in the village. It don't matter who they're on the stage. It doesn't matter. Like they come in. They come in. So
They
I
coming up.
protect the energy, protect my energy. And I just don't really waste it.
Nah, I respect that, man. Like I said, I do enjoy Carnival. It's a great thing to me. I still ain't hit a parade. That's the only thing
You
I
playing around.
I ain't hit a
Hey,
parade yet. I always say I gonna be in the
same,
parade, but
same.
we ain't hit one yet.
Yeah,
I only
Come
play
to squad,
steel
gotta come
pan.
together. We gotta be together, man.
we got to for the 30th.
My partner never play mass, right? So I talked him into doing it, and he was like, "What? This is what I'm missing." I was like, "Yeah, I tell you so. And once you start, that's it. No, you got to do it in order to understand. Being in the parade and watching the parade, I never from elementary school, I never watch a parade. I always in it, and if me in it, me going to it because that's like committing suicide. Like I cannot. I have to be in it. And if for whatever reason something happen and I got to go, I'm either in it, I gonna join it
Uh-huh.
some way somehow. Because
That's me.
mean,
I'll join it. I just never gonna be there. I would say, yeah, my me ain't gonna join, and then I go say, okay, you know, because me ain't join, me ain't gonna go. Next thing you know, I down the road. I don't get a couple drinking me. Might as well we just go on the road and cup.
you got to, you got to.
Yeah, same. I've been in parade my entire grade school career playing steel pan, and then earlier before I started steel pan, I was forced into some troop with the cringiest costume. I have some pictures of that, but yeah. So, but backtracking to you already talk kind of and simply sophisticated, and savage is the name of the next one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you don't touch base on it, but I just wanted to get your take on and just how does it feel? I mean, for you, obviously, I assume it feels great for the amount of growth that you have experienced over these past over a decade now for
17
Simply
years.
and going on a decade for Savage. So how does it feel to have this longevity and it still exists and it continues to grow?
And it's okay to cry.
No.
We would love to get Shamari crying in the pot.
No. But
Great.
I one can guarantee if Wendy been here, she'd have probably done that. He's a crybaby. I don't get emotional, right? But not in like a cry sense all the time. I just like I'm passionate. Like, obviously. I can't even explain that anymore. But like it's a very rewarding feeling. I'll use this as an example. When I started Simply Sophisticated in 2008, we had no competition on the road. There were 26 of us. Fusion Band or our band. Fusion Band were popping back then. We were doing it. The first year. The second year, I wasn't doing it. And some members came and some members was like, because I've been in 11th grade. So some girls was like, well, hey, we going on the road. And I was like, well, that was a one-time thing. And to this day, I don't thank them girls because really and truly, the three of them was the ones who really like. If it wasn't for them three, I would have been done with it because my man had done makeup. It was a one time thing, do it, done and finish. But it motivated me and pushed me to do it. Now, as time transition, and I don't know if you guys like paid attention or whatever, been this deep into it, but Carnival Troops or Festival Troops in St. Croix used to release their costumes in October. September, sometimes November come, you don't hear nothing on a troop, you don't see nothing, right? And in 2000, I want to believe 2012, I believe, I started to release, like I used to do like, so this, you guys familiar with my costume launch? It used to be a smart thing. We've been doing it for a long time before it's as big as what it is now.
That
Crazy,
thing is an
yeah.
event now.
Right.
Shit.
In
That
the
thing is an
summer,
event
Oh, it's
now.
a staple event, yeah.
in the summer, what we used to do is we used to just go by our mask cam, do our early registration, play a little music, and allow girls the opportunity to sign up. Back then, costume was like $200, right? And then like other carnival troops started to like come out and the scene. And August, summer was our early registration. August, when we used to launch official registration, and then a troop show up and the scene, and a troop was like, "Well, we doing it in August too." So I remember signing it. I tell Wendy, I was like, "Listen, I is a blueprint to this. So
Facts, package.
nobody ain't coming to jump with me in August." So I pushed my shit to July, right? And it worked, right? It worked. People started to talk about it, and for a period of time, it was like the only trip that used to do anything in July. Now, what I started to do, and I got playable. Everything I do is always strategic. Nothing is by coincidence. I do this long enough to understand like how the market works. So what we'll do is after St. Thomas Carnival, right after St. Thomas Carnival on Monday, we'll drop our team for festival. And
Yep.
when we drop the team in April, sometimes May, depending on how the season fall, that's when the ball really start to roll for us. Now, what I find now is, and now in this present moment right now, you get, I think, 5 or 6 carnival troops in this present moment right now that have already released their team for
Yep.
Christmas. That's because I'm me. I is the one.
Talk this shit.
I
Pushing the
the
Talk
one.
man
this
to
shit.
work harder.
But you see, where I get a satisfaction in all of that is all I wanted to do was have people take it more serious. If you advertise early enough, you give people the opportunity to come in, make plans, make arrangements, blah, 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 blah. What the division of festivals do, and it goes back now to my professional capacity, is all the division does is now market the dates earlier.
Oh,
Something that
yeah.
I've done to my people already, right? So now all eyes are on us. So now I sitting back and I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, people finally get it. Like people finally understand, you know, the seriousness of it because people started to see the return on the dollar. People started to see the return on the investment. People started to see the return on advertising all getting the word out, building hype. People starting to get it. So I have I'm very humble by it. Sometimes I find that I'll be extremely tired mentally because it'll take a toll on you. I don't
Right,
work
right.
like I released my team in April, but really actually I've been doing this from I've done had this whole thing lined up from like the second or third week of January, right? I had my team for this year presentation from December last year. So my brain don't ever turn off. It's one thing into the next thing into the next thing. But that's how it's supposed to be. Carnival and festival is an ecosystem, right? So Carnival troops now employing bartenders. Carnival troops now working with promoters. When I do my costume launch, I hiring man to do song, man to do stage. Like I'm also hiring bartenders. It's an ecosystem and everybody's supposed to benefit from it. But the only way we're gonna be able to build on that is if we start early, pour in the work, do our part. And it goes outside of just a parade, right? Like Juve troops, food fair. Like it just really goes back to just making a move early enough to show people that we're serious, we about it.
That's one of
I
the
feel
things. That's one of the things I wanted to highlight because I think people are gonna breeze over it because they not other people digest information. They don't really digest information. So not only are you doing these upfront planning for the troops, upfront planning for festivals, people gonna miss it. But you talked about fair, you talk about Pate Festival, you talk about like imagine y'all just complaining about the one event that's been planning for months. In Shamari head is how much different events that we could be able to capitalize on. St.
correct.
Patrick's Day, all these different events that you could be able to capitalize and push the culture and push the Virgin Islands and push festivals and just unity and all these and the ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? Not only is not a conversation just about the main people that's making the money, the triple over the case may be, how we could get other people involved and the fact that we have to and how we could incorporate them and give our love here and give our love here to be able to get them in the space and create this essentially beautiful product that everybody could enjoy and it's gonna come a lot of criticism and people gonna say, oh, this charge this and why they go with them and but I can't imagine how hard it is, man. But I glad that you did it. And for me, as an outsider who was able to see the growth and to see how it's come, I credit you with how big this thing is like big fat. I feel like this is when troops coming out to do the costume release is like fashion week. It's
Yeah,
Also,
man.
for,
Yeah,
for
that,
the,
that
that's
that's
how
Like
it's
how it'll
who's
supposed to
be
be.
who?
for real.
So
That's
like
how it
in
feel.
in Trinidad, right? Like Trinidad Carnival is in February and band
Mm-hmm.
launch season. That's what it's called. It's called band launch season. When
Mm.
all the different carnival troops are releasing costumes. It starts from the last week of June up until like the first week of August, and every single weekend there's a band launch. Sometimes on Friday, sometimes on a Saturday. This one carnival troop have the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they call it Sunset Weekend. So band launch season is a thing. We we're the only festival troupe in the Virgin Islands, as a matter of fact, who don't present our costumes on such a big scale. Um, what we're kind of changing that this year. I guess I could point out now because tomorrow we drop in a save the date flyer, but we kind of scaling back. We scaling back the event because of the rise of the industry. We spent over 20 grand last year just upon that event. In
Mm-hmm.
July. I don't necessarily think it's worth the spend. But I also want to clear up a misconception too. Like people believe that I'm making all this money and Shamari making all this, he's a millionaire. No, 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 no. Some people gonna believe that. Some people ain't gonna believe that. But who running the numbers with me, who doing the work, and who they in the business that have an understanding of it, will know that if my rats are making money, the kind of money that I think about making, I could have quit my job a long time and travel the world just like right. Like
Facts.
that's the honest truth, right? That's the honest truth. So people multiply 1,000 people by $800 and think, oh shit, that's our profit. Never. Like everything gone up. There's no resources in St. Croix. Some resources you have to bring from St. Thomas. There's a cost. There's a rise in the industry. I'm spending $250,000 minimum. Okay, and these are like I could send you invoices for you so you could see for yourself. Like I'm making a profit. In fact, sometimes you walk away from the parade day and you walk away with a loss, right? You got a bill to pay after or two bills to pay after. But the only people who understand that is people who are again in the industry doing the work. So
Right. Right.
people think guy's a millionaire. I ain't no damn millionaire. I wish I was. I wish I could have just stayed in my bed tomorrow, get up 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and just go about my business and do my own thing. But it's just you have to you try to find some kind of common ground. The market going up, right? But then you can't necessarily go up too high on costumes. You got to make sure that the costumes are affordable, and within a reasonable price range for the people. But then them same people who don't want to pay high dollar also want the best of
The
everything
best of everything.
come
Mm.
at a cost, right? So some sacrifices don't have to be made. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, you don't like it. But to the end of the day, it's not what people think it is. It's not as profitable as people think it is.
Yeah, I gotta put some more investment into learning the people behind these things and paying attention to what's going on because it don't matter, in my opinion, and this is a biased opinion. I don't really care. But in my opinion, it don't matter what same thing that man charge. I know it's a fair price. Now we got some others. I wouldn't say with in the Virgin Islands because we want to kind of about it. But you got some others out there where you could see and where you get in and you could tell like you're not really getting the best of the value. But you gotta realize how much work. Like we talking about things that's being launched. We in June. We talking about Christmas festival. So you gotta really think about how much work and how much time is really being invested to this at the same time. You know what I'm saying? How much mental effort, how much on top of the fact that people have regular this is just seasonal for some people. For some people they have their regular lives that they gotta go about and whatever time they have, they get 3 children, 4 children, and they taking this rest of their spare time to really make this and dedicate that. But like you say, you know what I'm saying? People who ain't in a space where they really put in that kind of work or put in that kind of money or any of these things, they would never be able to understand
I
what
don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I know several designers throughout the United States and the Caribbean. I have friends well connected, right? Um, but when I think about it, none of us, not one of us, making a living off of this shit, right? So I got friends who designing for 4 and 5 different troops within the year, and that's a little bit. I got friends doing 3 and 4 sections in just one troop, and got still other troops to do, right? But
Mm.
everybody still have to hustle. It's still a hustle. Nobody I know that they're in this business just kicking back, got their feet up, talking about yeah, we do it. Check out your next year. No, it don't. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Shipping is one of the biggest killers. One of the biggest. You spending upward of $50,000 just to ship. People don't see that. right? People just, how we to sell our experience, how we to deal with our troop is we selling your experience. It's more than a costume, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
want premier alcohol, you want the best costumes, you want the best
More than
entertainment,
just a
you
costume.
want the best packages. Then you're really paying for all of that as a collective versus just paying for a costume. Because I could give you a costume for $100, but you won't get nothing else. And the costume for $100 really ain't gonna be nothing either, right? So, we try to get people to understand that is experience. When you go to Trinidad, you pay for the experience. A costume without feathers is $1,000. But you think you really pay for the costume? Please, you pay for 10 DJs. When you go get a
Facts.
costume, you gain quality stuff. So that's what you're really paying for. That overall experience versus just something that you probably wear once or twice.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to shift gears a little bit. It's Pride Month.
Mm.
For those who don't know, now you know. It's Pride Month, and I know you've been a component of the LGBTQ community. This is no behind the scenes things. You've spoken about it. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mm.
want to give you the flow to be able to let's get some education behind the movement. And one of the biggest things, and I feel is very important, at least from my perspective, and I'm sure from the perspective of the community as well. I can't speak for you. I can't speak, but I want to ask you, why is it important for the straight community to be allies, and then how can they go about showing that support and being allies to the community?
So the straight community, I think, play an important role in creating a safe space for LGBTQ people, right? I personally don't. I'm a openly gay male. I have never lived in a closet or hide my sexuality. But that's not always the case for everybody. In being so open about myself, there's just a different level of confidence I have to walk into the room with. I've been in spaces where people didn't even know it's part of the community because I just don't. I present myself in a particular way.
Mm,
But you have a lot of people who are on the down low or might be living double lives because the straight community have not allowed a safe space for people to be themselves, right?
mm,
Um, and the straight community in the Caribbean is different from the straight
Hmm.
community in parts of the US because in the Caribbean we just a lot more critical and harder and grew up a little different.
absolutely.
Um, what I have done is I personally have created safe spaces for people. Um, I have friends who are on the download that will not come out at all.
Mhm.
Even if you give them $1 million, ain't coming out. I
That's
get
crazy.
I get friends who have came out and I just don't necessarily identify with anything in particular, just doing their own thing. And then I get people like me who just really don't give a shit, right? But I don't like me personally. I don't lead with my sexuality. I, I at one point I used to be Shamari the gay boy, and then like those were like junior high, and then like now as an adult, like people don't even see my sexuality or how I identify. But the straight some of my and I am very well known, very popular, but I don't have a lot of friends. But some of my closest relationships and friendships is with straight
Mhm.
man. Like dudes that I could just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I checking this dude, this is a vibe, give me your perspective. Like I have that. Not everybody have that. But
Right.
I'm also very fortunate to have that because I know what I do or what I have mean or what it means for me. I know what I mean for me. Um, so a safe space, community, right? Let people know that you can really do what you want. And why I find with a lot of straight dudes is they don't really give a shit what you into. They just want to know that you oppress them. um, you can always guarantee that, right? But then
Mhm.
also in the same breath, masculinity is so fragile that if you tell a man he look good or you tell a man he dress good, oh hey, meaning that. Like, dude, girlfriend, yeah, me want you anyway. I just giving you a compliment. You check? So so
Yeah.
so what I've done, and I've intentionally done this, I've intentionally complimented men,
Mhm.
straight men, just to like tear down a wall. Like lay your guard down. It's okay for a man to tell you that you look good. Like woman like that shit. Woman like I don't want to tell them they look good, right? If a man
Mhm.
tell me that you look good, really and truly, you probably just really look good. Like there's just some people that just really look good. But it's not like I know flirty, I into you kind of vibe. So if people free up a little bit, and again, just like allow that safe space, I think that we'll be able to coexist better. I think that as a people, Caribbean people, I think that we have become a lot more depending on where you reside. I think that we have become a lot more tolerable. I think that people time and place is important. I think that members of the LGBTQ community should always be mindful that although people tolerate it, people still don't like it. So you have to be mindful about where you present yourself. One thing that gives me a lot of anxiety is little children. Like and I don't get nervous. Like I'm a very confident person, but when you say I got to go present myself to children or talk to children, that's when I have to pull out my most masculine cap because a little child gonna say, "You don't act like a girl," right?
There
Listen,
you go, hold their tongue at time.
Yeah,
no, like that'll
they don't hold no
grind my
filter.
gears. But they don't know no better, right? They don't
Yeah.
know, like they really don't know any better. But it's just you have to be just mindful, and I feel like we live in a time where people be who they want and do what they want, and like it be free, but just be mindful. But I think the straight community plays a major role in the progression of the LGBT community, the acceptance of it, the safe spaces that are created. I'll use this partner. This is my good friend. I could call you out. I know you're gonna be no vibe. Meaning if I know Kamal Russell. Kamal Russell own level. So like Kamal is my boy. Me and Kamal were co-workers. Kamal had like always believed in me, like really good friends. And Kamal is like my little straight boyfriend, right? Kamal is like very affectionate. Sometimes like I would be like in a space where like you just need to vibe with somebody and I go call Kamal and be like, hey, what you dealing with? Let's go get a drink. But it's just good love. Like I know that Kamal's straight. Kamal know that I know that he's straight. And we have never crossed those lines. But because he's so sure about who he is as an individual, he could stand up on the sidewalk and give me a hug or like literally walk down the boardwalk and hold my hand and it's a joke to us. I've been placed in situations where like my friend been with a guy who are very homophobic, like very homophobic. And she tell you like, hey, if you're gonna be together with me or we gonna vibe, then you gotta just get along with Shamari. Cause it's gonna either be me and you or not me and you because she got my back. Um, but the beauty in that is me and this man is dogs today. I could call him
That's
now and
crazy.
turn it around. But what I also did is I was able to change his perspective. So now it's to the point where now people think he gay, but he's so sure about himself. Like he don't get into that kind of stuff, right? So when people just when like he's very straight hyper masculine guy in that. But just like comfortable enough to just be around, right? So I gonna go out
Right.
and somebody gonna say something and he gonna be the one to go at first. But again, just having that space, having that sense of community is important. And I don't mean to go on and on.
No.
But again, obviously this is something that I'm passionate about too. Because again, I know like I know what having straight allies mean for me. I know the space that it have created. And I know like the value and the friendships that I have.
No, absolutely. Can I shake some feathers?
If you could show me some feathers.
No, no. If I could shake up some feathers a little bit, I
Oh
have something I want to
yeah.
say,
You said feathers, and I think costume right away.
you ready for
That's what
carnival already?
I swear he about to pull out some costume feathers.
I
To
mean,
be honest,
I thought so. And I see that you want some
Ruffle,
feathers.
Yes.
ruffle some
Ruffle
feathers.
some
I need to
feathers.
Yeah,
ruffle
yeah,
some
yeah.
feathers. My bad, me you know that kind of lingo. But can I ruffle some feathers,
Of
fellas?
course.
Yeah, no, I always like to ruffle some feathers.
Go ahead, man. Go
But
ahead.
if we gain into it, straight man them.
Mm-hmm.
I know Shamari talked about being complimented by men on some things. And y'all to act like that's some evilish thing, but some of the shit y'all to get into and do is really for compliment from man because really let's talk
No.
about some Carmen. Carmen, I know a lot of women in checking now because I can't. Let's keep
Facts.
it a beat. I really like the fact that a lot of men like yeah, yeah. So like let's just keep it a beat. You could put
Watch.
on the shield and the sword. You don't got to protect yourself so much.
You
You cool,
talking that
guy.
shit right there for real and more. But for real, me gonna lie. You know you got get that shit on if a gay man tell you, hey, you
Facts.
sharp.
hey,
And I
honestly,
don't
yeah.
the heck don't make your day. For real. Like a bum telling you look sharp, yeah. But like if I walk out and be like Shamari, like what? sharp today, no brand. I'm like, why the fuck on lighting my day? You check. So it's true because I know this man come from a sense of fashion. He ain't just telling me because they get something that look better than his or if it looks expensive. This man tell me I sharp. I know for sure.
Mhm.
I sharp.
When
And
it's kind of like woman don't dress for woman, you know, woman don't dress for man.
mhm.
Exactly.
Woman want a compliment from an ex woman.
Yeah, Allah, some of them big chin and nah, I ain't fooling
Yeah,
nobody.
that
I ain't,
okay, it's only an
I
excellent
ain't fooling
complimenting
nobody.
and Gucci. You're right, you know what?
I get big Gucci checkmate boy. Hey, they gonna try to disguise the compliment. Cause they want to say, yeah, man. Hey, you look good, you're decent. Nah, man, it's all kind of yeah, man. Oh, so you're flexing on man. Now you get a big
Yeah, yeah.
Jordan trees.
It's true.
And straight man to give man compliment all the time, just in did I say you sharp or you're clean
Hey,
and things like
me
that.
ain't afraid to
Why is it a
compliment
problem
nobody.
if a gay man say? I never understood that because we that compliment each other all the time, and I've been getting compliments from straight man who give compliments to straight man, and they take
But
it
that's the
just like
same
a
thing we
compliment.
upset man. It's all
Exactly, I
anything a
know.
man no
It's
do. That's an all men space and then looking for that gratification and that love from.
man,
So
I feel like
I don't see the difference.
there
I
is
feel
no
like
difference, honestly.
I feel like we're beyond those times, and I agree with Shamari. I think the conversation now is opening up a little bit more. I wouldn't even say the conversation itself is opening up a bit more. I don't think the conversation is really being had as I mean it's more than before, but it's not in the voice channels. I don't think it's being had that
Not
much.
intentionally, at least. Yeah.
I do
Hmm.
think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Shamari, I do think there is more of a space than before.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Whether or not the straight men are coming out and like vocally speaking and vocally showing their support, I think it's a little bit better now in terms of like there's not as judgmental and so forth. I think it's growing a little bit. I do want to see the conversation being had though. I want to see the conversation being had. Let's dispel these things. I do agree with you. There's still a big movement of hyper masculinity with power. Is like you gotta move a certain way to prove. I'll tell people like all this homophobia and stuff and we're getting into it. Don't get me wrong, is I don't think I've personally been homophobic. I do think certain things would have made me more uncomfortable in the past just based on the way I grew up and so forth. To know I'm not like that at all. Like I even had one of my friends, she was like, it was a joke, but she was like, if I were ever to come out and say I gay, she wouldn't be surprised at all because I'm like she said like as a fluid person.
Hmm.
And some of my closest friends
Mm.
are gay men, women as well. 'Cause I know we only talk about gay men when it comes to straight men talking on the conversation. We talk about it
Mhm.
in gay men and so forth. Some of my friends is on both sides, and that is my dogs. To me, them sometimes is more fun to cool with them than it's cool to cool with some of my straight partners, man. To be honest with you,
I feel like people should be able to just be who they want to be. Um,
Hmm.
facts.
it just sounds like so cliche because we've heard that before, but like people really don't know what I mean, right? For me, like me personally, me speaking on behalf
Hmm.
of nobody, um, me, and I probably gonna get beat up from the LGBT community for saying this. It is what it is. I
Talk your
I
truth.
I personally ain't going to place holding no rainbow flag. Um, I personally don't necessarily engage in pride events. Um, and it's just for the mere fact that I don't really feel like I need to. I know who I am, and I don't necessarily think I need to be out here validating
Hmm.
my sexuality to the community. Um, I think that the participation of events for some people are more so celebratory than anything else. I
Hmm.
just don't
Mhm.
need to show it, and that come with age. So like people who know Shamari from like 2007, 8, 9, I was loud. You used to hear me. Sometimes you never see me. Like you just know I did wrong. Now I'm the complete opposite of that, right? Because like the life that I built for myself, my face, my public face is important. So again, I try not to lead. I don't lead on my sexuality. But I get it. Like I get, the community celebrating and shouting it, and screaming it and being proud about it. Me personally, no. That just ain't my thing. And it,
Hmm.
it never have been, a thing for me.
Nah, that makes sense. That makes sense, and it's important to say as well because some people don't feel like they could do that. Some people feel like they're forced into doing those things. So I respect that opinion, to be honest.
True, true.
I appreciate it.
Let me get into. You mentioned it earlier. In a sense of homophobia, Shamari. Um, what does homophobia actually mean to you? And times is changing and evolving, and so you think it's as highly prevalent as it once was?
I don't think that that homophobia is as prevalent as it once was. Homophobia is a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I've been faced with it for a long time, like all through school. I think by like ninth grade, I was like, okay, this is who I am, and people just accepted me for who I am. Um, but homophobia, like in some areas, like real serious. Like there are people who have homophobic parents who have disconnected and shut them out altogether. I've
Mm-hmm.
never been faced with that. My mother, my mother have always been like very accepting, but my
Mm-hmm.
experience is different from a lot of people. My father actually is a lot more like sensitive than my mother had, but
Mm-hmm.
not my dad. That's not, some people get a complete opposite, right? And then some people just don't have the
Right.
support from
Yeah.
parents at all. But homophobia is learned. It's a learned behavior. Because when children just don't know, children go based off of what is presented to them, where they hear, what they're taught. But being that we living in a time now where you have same-sex couples adopting kids and same-sex couple making kids, whether it's male or female couples, we live in a time where you got trans people, right? And then on TV, you turn on the TV and you're watching reality TV, and it get gay guys, and like the world. I think that the world have become a lot more accepting of it, because we see it now in our day to day as a norm. Sometimes I don't turn on the TV and I'm like, why is this on television? Like something that just freaked me out. Um,
Uh-huh.
but again, it's just the time that we're living in. So I think that's
True.
why people is a lot more tolerable, and
Mm-hmm.
it's homophobia is not as prevalent as it was. Well,
Mhm.
again, it also depends on where you reside.
True.
True.
So, question, because obviously coming from the Caribbean, living in the Caribbean, especially back then, when homophobia and things was a lot greater than it is today. Um, if you mind sharing, of course, you don't have to.
Mm.
Any personal challenges you have faced from back then to now? Any experiences, whether discrimination in the workplace, anything like that that you have personally faced
I've
that
never
you're willing to share?
I've never faced workplace discrimination. Thank God.
Eh.
Somebody went to court. Um, but
It's a
uh,
check.
yeah, like yeah, I don't play with that. I think like I think it's just getting like bullied in school, right? Um, People really think it's a punk, no pun intended, right? Um, and like some people will try to size me up, and I
Yeah,
got to
they know
show
you get
people
it
like,
hands.
yeah, people think, and I'm not a violent person. I'll defend myself if I have to. I don't necessarily have the spirit of confrontation, but I try to run from it, as a matter of fact. But people really do try to size me up. So sometimes I'm in a space with a bunch of straight man smoking the weed and doing the thing, and then I walk up and everybody like watching me like, what you doing here? So I watch them back like,
Mhm.
well, why are you doing here? Because in my mind, we there together. You know? But I'm faced with that in certain places I go as an adult. But
Mhm.
I've never, like, my story is different from a lot of other people's story, and my story is light, and I don't want my voice or my point of view to come across as a story for a lot of people. I
Mhm.
Right.
know people who experience real things, who have been in life or death situations, who have
Jeez.
been thrown out, who have experienced the worst of it. Like I know people who have that, who've had those experiences. I know people who their home with their parents are gonna never come up because they know what I mean. So my story just different, but
Mhm.
again, it is because I have always walking my truth. So I remember I flipped open an album of my mom recently, and I was like, "Where the hell I pose off like that? Like you could have tell her what I've been gay from young." And then
Mhm.
when I tell when I
Yo.
tell my mother, I was like, "Hey, mommy, I like man." She was like, "Yeah, I know," and I was like, "Well, okay, cool." But then when I look back at pictures, I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course, I know. Like, look how I standing up." Yeah?
Mhm.
But people stories and situations are different. Um, uh, but I always tell people, if you have kids who may be in a situation and may have come out at the closet, embrace your children, because the world is a cold, hard place. A hard for straight black man, a hard for straight black woman is two times harder for big 6 foot man that walk around in high heel with makeup on their face, right?
Hmm.
Because immediately you're judged. But when it's all said and done, the one place you're supposed to go and feel comfortable is home, right?
Fact.
Hmm.
That's when you don't have a place to go, you don't have um family, because you will get friends that gonna ride with you and got your back, but it's not, the love is different, right? So when children don't have that place to go, you have a lot of people that lost that, it affects their mental health, it affects the day to day, affects the productivity. Like, some people just need home. So if you get children, or whoever listening to this, get children, and I just embrace your children. You don't have to necessarily accept it. We're all adults, and have our own beliefs. But you should at least be in a place to understand, at least. Have some level of compassion.
That's a real statement.
Facts.
Tell you, I know people
Yeah,
that did real stuff.
that's
I
a
know,
real statement.
I know
That's a
people.
real statement.
I know people.
Before we close out, is there anything that you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to share? I mean, you could give us an exclusive that nobody know about that's coming if you want. I don't know if you want to guess what.
Okay, I could get a little something.
Give me
We
something, man.
we putting Savage on the road this year.
Uh-huh.
People expecting 2 Carnival troops or 2 festival troops this year, but it'll just be one, just simply. When I started Savage in 2018, Savage was supposed to be a 5-year venture to break the industry and show people that other things could be presented on a parade route. Savage last 6 years, the mission was accomplished, and I don't necessarily think is a need for me to take on that additional load. Our costume launch is August 3rd. We're dropping a save the date flyer tomorrow. We
Mhm.
are downsizing the event. We're taking it indoors. I won't say where as yet, but it'll be indoors. Same VIP feel, same vibe. If you know me, I going big, whether it's indoor or outdoor. So that coming really soon. We're also cutting simply sophisticated numbers as well. We're not going to be hosting 1,000 people on the road as yet. I assess that every year, but I this year I absolutely have to cut the numbers. Wendy actually is in Africa right now for the next 9 months on a deployment. She is the backbone to a lot of the things that I do. She's also the backbone to like my success. So what happens is when I'm holding up the world, and the world becomes or starts to get too heavy, then she'll be right underneath me holding me up. People like it's kind of like a relationship, really. Like, she's like my girlfriend. But her not being here gives me a little bit of anxiety, because she have been riding with me for so long. That her
Hmm.
not being here this year is just gonna be a bit different. But she been out in the military. Wendy, I think, is the first female engineer with the National Guard ever. I want to be. She's either a lieutenant or second lieutenant or something. She just move up, but I don't ever get it right. But she's doing her thing. I support my friends. I support all the things that they're doing. I still have a good team who I know get my back no matter what. If a fire come and I jump in the fire, they jump in the fire behind me. I have
Mhm.
two individuals and a team for sure that are going to jump in the fire before me, because that's just the type of the kind of people I have around me. And then I'll say this and I done. And this isn't specific to you guys, but just specific or specific to the conversation that we're having. Um,
Mhm.
Show up for people, right?
Mhm.
Show up for people. I do juggle a lot of things, and people are always show up for me, no matter what. I could make a phone call right now, and they coming. It don't matter what time. It don't matter. My friends will show up for me. So it's good to show up for people. And it's also good to meet people where they are at. That will go over some people's head. But that's even deeper than the conversation that we have now. So if I get people within our circles, or people that you're just vibing with, sometimes it's good to take a backseat. People don't understand. Like, my plate will be so full sometimes that I don't have the mental capacity. But people don't really understand when they'll be like, "Hey, I just need a break," or I dropping off the face that I ought, because people always expect for me to be there. So I've trained my friends to just meet me where I'm at. I'm gonna come back whenever it's time for me to come back. But I think that it's important for us to pay attention to people, understand the space that people are in. People battling and dealing with real thing and a day to day. And real thing ain't always wapa, or it ain't always bills, and ain't always children. Sometimes it's deeper than that. Like a lot of us, I value my mental health. I come from a family where we've had mental health issues. And as I'm getting older and I'm taking on more, I'm also realizing that I'm becoming a procrastinator. But I've recently identified why. And it's just like being very overwhelmed and not taking the time for myself and being there for people all the time. And then I've centered my life around work, which is probably one of the worst things I did, because I don't catch a break, right? I work in on behalf of the community, and sometimes I get to the bar grabbing a drink and they want to talk about festival. Like I don't want to talk about festival today.
I know,
Right,
man.
right.
Right? So
Jeez.
I
Leave
feel
walk
that.
a walk.
just yeah, people don't get it. But again, just show up for people, meet people party at where they're there. Embrace people. I'm very humble. I try my best to be there for people as much as I can, and as long as I doing this, I gonna be doing this all in. No matter what, no matter what I do, I invested. That's just naturally how I am.
No shade to
All
nobody,
right.
right? No shade to nobody. But I do want to say something. In my eyes, realistically, right, Shamari like a celebrity to me in real time. And
He is a
me and Shamari
celebrity.
have had conversations offline and stuff. But this like a celebrity to me. And I promise this is no shade. This is no shade. I just want to drive home this point. And I'm making sure I say no shade because I know some people who will take shade by this. But as busy as Shamari is, even when I reach out to him, like I was kind of nervous because, like, man, I know Shamari busy bad. I don't know if he gonna have the time. But even showed up for us, you know what I'm saying? Here I come to and say, you know what, I gonna do it. Showed up. And I got to what I think is a great episode for us. So I really want to drive home like that show up because you never know how much you showing up gonna mean to that person, you know what I'm saying? Because this means a lot to me. Realistically, this really means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot
Definitely.
to the guys.
Yep.
You know what
Yes,
I'm
it
saying?
does.
So it really means a lot to us. You coming out here and you showing us this love. We are early podcast. We just start doing our thing. Some guys from the Virgin Islands try and make it. And no man, no such story. We is the
I no, so
we is them
I
dudes for
support it.
real.
I've been following the podcast. I don't be in a lot of things. I just don't
Mhm.
I don't talk about a lot of things because like I just always want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at myself as a celebrity. I try to be as influential to people as I could be, right? So I I'm never too big to have a conversation, never too busy to touch base because I inspire a lot of people, and I'm inspired by people, right? Younger than me, older than me, the same age, and I just try my best to show up, to show up. People ain't know that. People ain't know I come out of the projects. People ain't know that. And when I tell boy come out as a rally, they'll be like, "You come out a rally, yeah, building nine apartment one floor." Um, but I am an inspiration to other people who come out of the project. And even leading back to the LGBT conversation, being able to walk in my truth and
Facts.
do my day to day, like people wish that they could have do that, right? So I am never too good or too high. I humble. I try my best to be as humble as possible, but I'm never too good or never too busy for my people. If I get your back, I get your back, and that's just how I roll. And I believe in you guys. I know that you guys got something good going, and you're gonna just only grow. You just gotta be patient with yourself. And you don't. And I'm gonna say this and I'm done. 'Cause I don't run my mouth a lot. You don't need the wall to support you, right?
Mhm.
And this is my advice to Ayo. You don't need a wall to support Ayo. All you need is quality people. Sometimes quality people is five, right? Quality
Facts.
over
Mm.
quantity. You don't 1,000 people could be listening, but really and truly, is 1,000 people really beneficial to you guys? They're gonna just be listening
Facts.
and not necessarily supporting, right?
Yeah, facts.
Mhm.
But all you need is that quality core, and again, that's how I've been able again to do all the things that I do because I have a quality core of people who believe in me and believe in what I'm doing and who support the vision. So I mean, I doing good stuff. Just keep it up, keep moving forward, don't give up. And if I could connect with anybody, or be of any kind of support to help, let me know. Sometimes you'll shoot me a message and I wouldn't respond right away because my Facebook inbox will be a bit crazy. But always take time to comb through messages and try to be as responsive as much as I could be. So I appreciate
I
that
want
happening
that.
though.
And
Of
Shamari
course.
showing up
Gratitude.
again. Hey, and I do
Gratitude.
want to
Hey,
drive
Shay,
home that as well. Just
okay, go ahead,
with
go
that
ahead, go
come
ahead.
true. With
Before
that
we get
come true,
gratitude,
man.
go
With come true, man. The podcast name. I love to hear it. Anyways,
ahead. X name, X my dog.
this man, Shamari, is a busy man. He wearing like 7 hats, thinking about 70 plus events throughout the year, doing all of these things, but he still comes through and he's still there for the little people, because as much as you don't like to consider yourself a celebrity, you really are to that level, to a lot of people, myself included. So the fact that
Yeah.
you there and you have all these stuff going on and you still willing to come through and show up, not just for us, but just for the Virgin Islands as a whole, I just find that very respectable, and I definitely appreciate you as a Virgin Island, a big head in the community. So respect to you
No man,
there.
little things, man, little things.
But
I,
And what you gonna say, Web?
before we close out, gratitude, man. I ain't forgetting this time. So
Oh,
Shamari,
there you go.
generally every episode, I don't know, we probably fall off maybe 2 episodes, but generally we like to give gratitude. We give gratitude for anything and whatever you want to give gratitude for. Just be whatever you're thankful for today. Usually I do it because we do episodes every Sunday. So usually I do for the last week. What something that you're thankful for. It could be a person, a place. It could be for waking up. It could be for you went outside and somebody buy you a drink. Like whatever it is, just give us one thing that you have some gratitude for.
um outside of like the obvious like regular like people and all that stuff, I guess I have the most gratitude for life, um and the ability to get up and do what I doing every day. I have not slept since Friday morning.
Sheesh.
Literally, I running off a Red Bull and water. I'm working on on a project right now, so just once I have that strength to get up and keep going, I going. So I'm the most blessed. I'm grateful for life, and good health. Because some people get life and they ain't get good health, right? So I'm just glad to be in a space and grateful to be in a space where I could just continue to do all the things I do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I go next. For me, I ain't gonna sound cliche, but really and truly, and when you shared about just having some the loyal community that's surrounding you and supporting you, really and truly give thanks to our supporters who are those people. You know what I'm saying? Because we started this year, we've been grinding. Sometimes when you start to pick up, you start to look at the numbers. Okay, we gotta get to the next number. But really and truly, shout out to everybody who has really wholeheartedly supported us, who has poured out and promoted what we have going on. Just like you, Shamari, for jumping on with us. You know what I'm saying? I really and I truly, for me personally, I really appreciate you guys. It's what keeps us going. I've said it before in a pod. My goal and my whole life goal is to help as much people as I can. And that means even if it's just one person, just take away one thing from what I'm able to say on this podcast, because I know how much it means to me when somebody else gives me that one piece that helps me get to the next level, whether it be in entrepreneurship, my life, my relationship, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really and truly appreciative and thank you for those who are subscribe to us, who are listening, who are, even if you're not commenting, whatever the case may be, if you're just listening and implementing something that we're talking about here and you just feel it in your soul, like, man, I love what these brothers doing. I appreciate you having that feeling really and truly from the bottom of my heart, man. I appreciate
100%.
it.
Thank you, supporters. So I guess I go next. Um, guess I'm grateful. I guess I'll say for 2 things. We had a soup sale this Saturday, just raising funds for my daughter recovery fund from her heart surgery and all her conditions and things that she's been going through medically. So just want to thank all the supporters. The sale did go great. We sell out on basically everything. Have some seafood callaloo left. So I'm also grateful for being able to have some leftovers for
Always thinking
myself.
about your belly.
So of course, man. But thank y'all. We'll definitely have more soup sales coming through and different things. My mother-in-law, she loves to cook and her food tastes good.
Shout
So
out Prim.
come true. And
Yeah, purpose good people.
next thing I would like to, I just grateful. My son, he in Taekwondo. got his yellow belt yesterday. We all grew up in Taekwondo. Forced sometimes it wasn't a great feeling having to go, but I just happy that he is in Taekwondo because it really does teach you to put your mind first and get you in a mental state of controlling your emotions. It's not really about fighting. So for any of y'all that do have kids or for yourself, really, Taekwondo is a great way to channel those emotions and to really take control of your mind because that's the strongest part of your body. So those two things I'm thankful for.
Brian got echo, man. When you say Brian, like,
Yeah, Brian got echo. Stop the
That's
recording.
good,
Let's
man,
take off his
Fari.
echo
You know.
cancellation. Oh, it off. Never mind. Back to you, Brian. I'll edit that out.
Yeah, shout out TJ for the yellow belt. You know, it's good to see that he could hold it together for a ceremony.
Yes.
um,
that was crazy shit.
Crazy shit, but man, really, he was night and day
I
from
was
his
proud of him.
graduation.
I was proud of him. I called him today, and we had a little conversation. He showed me his belt and whatnot. So, you know, I tell you, I was proud of him. But gratitude for me this week. I get this one to the Come True team, man. The guys been really working hard behind the scenes. You know, whether we having meetings, clipping videos, you know, Fari quick with it. You know, coming together, picking these topics, these guests. I mean, look who we have. We have a big household named Shamari now. I mean, can't tell me nothing about Come True now. So I just shouting out the team, man. We're really doing a thing, coming up nice, slow, humble, keeping it fun, keeping it light, having great conversations, different conversations, pushing a narrative that's different than what we normally see from young black men. So, you know, shout out to you know, Farai, shout out to Webb. Thank you for coming through, Shamari. Shout out Brand. That guy's
Big
cool.
facts.
So, you know, that's what I'm grateful for a lot this week. So, you know, big up ourselves.
Yes, I man. Yes, I much
Good
love,
stuff.
bro. And with that, thank you, Shamari, for coming through. We did appreciate you coming and great conversations. It was a pleasure having you. With that, peace over the heart. Hope y'all
Nice.
tuned in. Thank y'all as well for coming through. Peace.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Facts.